Hey Facebook, it's Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions, joining you from Portland, Oregon today. Today we're going to talk about Halloween safety tips, and I'm in my kitchen and made a little bit of a mess so that you guys can see the most important part of our Halloween safety tips for sure is filling up and working with interactive food toys. So, oh, Lindy's not here. So Lindy is here actually with me today to model. And the first thing actually I want to talk about when it comes to safety with Halloween is how to keep your dog or cat or occupied when you have trick-or-treaters. And I know this year Halloween's going to be really different for most of us, but I still think it's really important to keep them occupied. So the first thing is a snuffle mat. I got a new snuffle mat and Lindy is not so patiently waiting for this new snuffle mat. I love this one because it stores so small. My best friend Laura, she refers to this snuffle mat as the salad because it's all green inside. So I've got some treats mixed in there. I'm going to give those to Lindy right now to keep her occupied while I'm doing my other part of my talk here. So she's down there hanging out. So when we talk about Halloween safety, one of the biggest things we need to think about is our front door. And where are our pets in relation to the front door? So how can you make that front door safe if you are going to be opening it on and off throughout the night? Definitely with COVID and things like that, I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be maybe hanging out on their front porch or using those cool food chutes that people have been putting together. But no matter what, there's probably going to be a fair bit of commotion going around. So are your pets safe in the house, especially your cats? Make sure that they are safe, and inside there's going to be so much more foot traffic, car traffic, things like that. So we want to make sure that they're safe in the house and that they can't get out. So do that before it gets dark. And then we want to keep our pets occupied while all of this craziness is going on. So we're going to work on a little Kong stuffing while I talk here. So I love this. I wonder if Libby Pumpkin, they have this super cute little label here that says to join Pinterest for recipe ideas. Something tells me they were not thinking about dog food recipe ideas when they put that on their label. So I'm gonna grab my big old bowl, and while we're talking about Halloween fun, I'm gonna start scooping this stuff out. So I always wanna pre-make all of my frozen toys ahead of time, long before I need them, so I don't have to think about it. On Halloween, my dogs will not get their normal meal. So we're going to start with our canned pumpkin because this is going to be what they get instead. Uh-oh, Lindy's like, what is going on up there? Can you loop? Thank you. Relax. Chill out. Good. All right, so we'll reward her for being quiet and hanging out with me while I fill up our food toys. That's normally what she does. Not normally on her climb platforms, but we'll go from there. All right, so if you have any questions about Halloween safety tips for your pets, please go ahead and put them into the comments section as I'm busy here filling up my toys. So let's talk about toy options really quick for dogs, not for cats, but there are some for cats too. I don't have cats, so I don't have cat toys. I love the topples. So the reason why I love topples is that they are easy to fill, they're easy to clean. The dogs do a great job cleaning them out. I love them. I actually love them more than Kongs now, I hate to say it. But one of my dogs, Rizzo, is an amazing Kong cleaner outer. Is that a word? I think it is. So she gets Kong still because she takes a longer time to clean those out than she does the topples. And then Bueller gets the smaller topples. He's my little guy. And he also can do little Kongs, so we have those. But my newest thing, Prime Day was like, what, I don't know, a week or two ago. So for Prime Day, I bought myself some new licky mats. These ones happen to have suction cups. It doesn't really matter, but they also can connect to their little partner licky mats here. So this one is Rizzo's because this is a hard plastic one, so I know that she won't destroy it and eat it. That's the type of dog she is. And then I also have these more silicone-y ones. So we're going to talk about how to fill up those and our topples and keep our dog occupied while we're filling them up, Miss Lindy Lou. So I've thrown some pumpkin in here, and now I'm going to do some canned white fish, and we're going to mix that in. It smells gross. You guys are very lucky you don't have smell-o-vision right now. So what else happens on Halloween that we need to be aware of for our pets is definitely costumes. So let's talk first about people costumes. And so even if your dog is super used to, if you have kids in the house and your dog is super used to seeing your kids and loves your kids, if they go and get dressed up in their costume upstairs and all of a sudden show up downstairs with this weird outfit on, whatever it may be, your dog may, or cat may be a little reactive to just that alone. So we definitely need to think about how to prepare them for that and be comfortable. Maybe practicing that they see your child put on their costume ahead of time, that kind of stuff. I know Lindy herself, she, if my son walks down the stairs and his guitar is strapped on him and it's sticking up above his head, that definitely makes her a little worried, and she sometimes will bark at him. So we have to play some distraction games for that. All right, so we've got canned food, 2 things of canned food. We got some pumpkin. We're going to add in some mix-in here. This is pumpkin and also some more fishy stuff. Rizzo has really specific allergies, so I have to be very careful what I put in my things. So, all right, so costumes for kids. The other costume for kids thing that you have to be careful about with your pets is if you have cats. So if you have one of those, if your kid has one of those blow up costumes, or have you seen the little like Dancy Man costume? That was pretty funny. Or has lots of little stringy pieces. Your cat may find that highly interesting, and your child's costume may become a toy. And they may go from play to a little bit of aggression. So definitely be aware of that too. Then what can we do to keep them occupied during trick-or-treating? So that's where we come into our food dispensing toys. Oh, I have a gross banana. Gross bananas are great for food dispensing toys. So we're gonna mush that in. The dogs don't care that it's mushy. It's the whole point of it. We'll put that in the compost bin later. We'll mix that in. This is delightful. So we've got a little pumpkin. We've got some banana. We've got a little bit of canned food in here. It's starting to get to a nice consistency. Nice orangey Halloween looking pumpkin fill here. So, costumes for pets. Let's talk about that. Most pets don't like them. As much as we think they are really cute, I'm going to give you a hint. I used to run actually the sponsor of the pet costume contest in the town where I used to have a training facility. Most of the dogs look darn miserable. So if you want to do costumes, what can you do that isn't so difficult for your dog? So let's see, we've got, I love this one. This one's like a little collar ruff that they can wear. So Lindy doesn't mind this one. Oh, good girl. So we'll see. I'm gonna still use my treats to get this on. I wanna move my bowl here and work on treats through it. Drop the treat. She says, that's okay, Mom's got more cookies. And then we're gonna work on having her choose to put her head through. Oh, it's a little tight. I have 2 versions of this. So we'll make it a little bit bigger. Up, on blue. Good girl. Cookie for getting up there. And then, whoop, awesome. So she can happily wear that little cute little ruff. And it's like wearing a collar. It's not that big a deal. That's not a big costume. I'm not super worried about those type of costumes. And these are about the only costumes, to me, I'm comfortable putting on my dogs. So with that said, I have a couple fun ones that I put on my dogs. Little Bueller gets the bow tie and the collar with candy corns on it. Super funny. That's a good one for him to wear around the house. He also has a super cute harness that is part of he wears, day-to-day harness to go for a walk. It's a little pumpkin harness. And then Lindy has worn this cute little cheerleader costume, but she likes to wear coats, so that's totally fine with her. And I know that she's comfortable with wearing them because she wears coats in other situations. All right, so let's go back to our Kong stuffing. We're going to do our licky mats first, okay? So licky mats are a little bit easier. Chill out. Good job. Thank you. All right, so we're going to just glop it on there. This is why I like the licky mats. Chill out. She's like, I want a licky mat now. Actually, once I fill this one and she is quiet, I will go ahead and let her have this one. Even though it's not frozen, it will keep her entertained for a little bit of time. All right, licky mat to dog. We'll fill up the next licky mat. All right, so this is that harder one. Has a little bit more structure to it. So I find licky mats way easier to fill, but they're a little bit harder to store when you're freezing them. So I put them on a sheet pan and go from there. So I'll fill that up one probably more. But what most people get in trouble with is how do you fill up lots and lots of Kongs and keep your dog entertained. So plastic Ziploc bag. We're gonna dump in this yummy filler here. And then we're gonna cut a hole in this and use it to pipe them directly into our toys. All right, so then we're gonna take our toys and I'm gonna plug my holes because I don't want all of that yummy stuff I just made to slide out. So I've got liver pieces that I'm gonna stick in there. My liver pieces are huge today. All right, Kongs, I just dropped that in. Try to find a little piece for Mr. Bueller. Bueller's small. He has to get a small thing. There we go. Perfect. That licky mat is done already. As she tells me, chill out. That's hilarious. So that's why you freeze your licky mats. That took her no time at all. That was ridiculous. All right, so let's see what we can do for her instead. Let's go ahead and go back into our snuffle mat to keep her entertained. It's hard to be entertained when mom is on Facebook Live and filling up Kongs. All right, so we've got our bag filled here. I'm gonna come away from the corner so that we don't cause a problem and everything fall out at once. I'm gonna cut off that corner, find where it went. Okay, there it goes, saved it. All right, so now I've got a piping bag. Ah! Remember how I said be careful when you cut off that corner? All right, so Kong. And it goes right in there. I'm gonna knock it down, fill a little more. Knock it down, fill a little more. Whoa. Takes some practice. And then I'm gonna nestle that one in. All right, with our West Paw topples, these are, like I said, these are super easy to fill because you just squirt it in. It's just not as challenging, which I love. It makes my Kong filling so much faster. And you can hear I'm just saying Kong. It's like it's like the word Kleenex. It's like your generic word. And then what I do with I gotta empty out this here a little more. Hold on. I've got more. I'm gonna have to spend some time filling these after I get off with all of you. But what I do is I put them in a sheet pan and balance them all together, and I put the whole sheet pan then in my freezer. I'll finish filling all those up. So the other thing we want to think about with safety on Halloween is to make sure our pets are in the house. We want to go ahead and make sure that they also have all of their ID on them. So if something were to go wrong, like your gate were to get blown open or somebody opens the door when they shouldn't, things like that, I would go ahead and make sure that their ID is on their tags. It's up to date. If they're microchipped, make sure your microchip is up to date. But really for me, I keep my pets away from the door. My dogs will be in their crates and they will be entertained with food dispensing toys. Like I said, I'm gonna skip dinner that night so that they can go ahead and eat a lot out of their food dispensing toys, and it's not gonna be a disaster the next day with their tummies. Then the last thing we wanna think about is the candy. So I have a dog, Rizzo, who's a little naughty, if those of you who know me and my dog, and she will find and seek any type of food, even if it's not dog food, and seek and destroy it. So I have to be really careful with the candy to make sure that she does not get into wrappers and get a bowel obstruction, that she doesn't eat all of the candy that she shouldn't and end up in the veterinary hospital because she's eaten a ton of chocolate. And remember, all those treats smell really good. So you really need to make sure, I'm doing Get It Game with Lindy, you really need to make sure that those treats are secured away from your pets. And make sure that your kids understand that all of the wrappers need to get thrown away too, that they shouldn't be throwing those wrappers in their room, besides that you don't want ants and bugs and stuff like that. But you also don't want your pets to get into them. Go find it. So, couple things to remember for our upcoming holiday. It's just this weekend. If you're going to have Halloween in your neighborhood, depending on what your COVID practices are, is You're going to keep our pets inside the house. We're going to keep them away from the door, secured away from the door. So if that means that they're in a guest room or they're away in their crate, those are kind of things are great. You're going to give them some food entertainment to keep them occupied. So using either our licky mats or our topples, things like that, that are pre-filled and frozen so that it takes them a while longer to do it. And also to remember that if you have a dog who has human-directed aggression or concerns about other dogs and people, things like that, this is not the time to socialize them. This is the time for them to have a chill-out night in their room, getting their nice, tasty treats. And then the last thing too to remember is in case of emergency and things go wrong, because sometimes they do, to make sure that your dog has their ID is up to date and that their microchip has been registered and properly updated also. And I also like to have a most recent picture. That's the joy of cell phones now, is we all have recent pictures of our pets. So I hope you enjoyed, got some ideas on how to fill up your Kongs and your licky mats and some safety ideas for the upcoming holiday. And Lindy would like to say goodbye, and she's thankful for you joining us today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in our comments. Thanks so much. Have a great day.